coastal water forecast from Mansland Inlet MJ to Little Egg Inlet MJ out 20 nautical miles. Hurricane force winds warning in effect through this evening. This afternoon, northeast winds 35 to 45 knots with gusts up to 65 knots. Seas 17 to 22 feet, dominant period 11 seconds. Rain with isolated TFTMS. Visibility 1 nm or less. Tonight, northeast winds 35 to 45 knots with gusts up to 60 knots. Becoming north 25 to 30 knots with gusts up to 45 knots. Seas 16 to 21 feet, dominant period 11 seconds. Subsiding to 11 to 15 feet. Rain in the evening. Snow until early morning. Then a chance of snow late. Visibility 1 nm or less. Sunday, north winds 25 to 30 knots with gusts up to 40 knots. Becoming northwest 15 to 20 knots with gusts up to 30 knots. Seas 9 to 14 feet. Subsiding to 7 to 10 feet. Mainly an east swell with a dominant period of 11 seconds. Sunday night, west winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 20 knots. Seas 6 to 9 feet. Subsiding to 4 to 7 feet after midnight. Mainly an east swell with a dominant period of 11 seconds. Monday, west winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 4 to 6 feet. Monday night, southwest winds 10 to 15 knots, increasing to 15 to 20 knots after midnight. Seas 3 to 5 feet. Tuesday, southwest winds 15 to 20 knots. Seas 4 to 6 feet. Chance of showers in the afternoon. Tuesday night, west winds 15 to 20 knots. Seas 4 to 7 feet. Chance of showers in the evening. Wednesday, west winds 15 to 20 knots. Seas 3 to 5 feet. Wednesday night, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Winds and seas higher in and near TFTMS. The coastal water forecast from Little Egg Inlet MJ to Cape May MJ out 20 nautical miles. Hurricane force winds warning in effect through this evening. This afternoon, northeast winds 35 to 45 knots. Gusts up to 65 knots. Seas 17 to 22 feet, dominant period 11 seconds. Isolated TFTMS. Rain. Visibility 1 nm or less. Tonight, and winds 30 to 40 knots with gusts up to 60 knots. Diminishing to 25 to 30 knots with gusts up to 45 knots late. Seas 16 to 21 feet, dominant period 12 seconds. Subsiding to 11 to 16 feet. Rain in the evening. Snow in the late evening and early morning. Then a chance of snow late. Visibility 1 nm or less. Increasing to 1 to 3 nm late in the evening. Diminishing to 1 nm or less. Sunday, and winds 25 to 30 knots with gusts up to 40 knots. Becoming northwest 15 to 20 knots with gusts up to 30 knots. Seas 9 to 14 feet. Subsiding to 7 to 10 feet. Mainly an east swell with a dominant period of 12 seconds. Sunday night, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 20 knots. Seas 6 to 9 feet. Subsiding to 4 to 7 feet after midnight. Mainly an east swell with a dominant period of 12 seconds. Monday, west winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 3 to 5 feet. Monday night, southwest winds 10 to 15 knots, increasing to 15 to 20 knots after midnight. Seas 3 to 5 feet. Tuesday, southwest winds 15 to 20 knots. Seas 4 to 6 feet. Chance of showers in the afternoon. Tuesday night, west winds 15 to 20 knots. Seas 4 to 6 feet. Chance of showers in the evening. Wednesday, northwest winds 15 to 20 knots. Seas 3 to 5 feet. Wednesday night, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Winds and seas higher in and near TFTMS. The coastal water forecast from Cape May MJ to Fenwick Island, Delaware out 20 nautical miles. Hurricane force winds warning in effect through this evening. This afternoon, northeast winds 35 to 45 knots. Gusts up to 65 knots. Diminishing to 60 knots late. Seas 18 to 23 feet, dominant period 11 seconds. Isolated TFTMS. Rain. Visibility 1 to 3 nm late this morning and early afternoon. Tonight, and winds 30 to 40 knots with gusts up to 55 knots. Diminishing to 25 to 30 knots with gusts up to 45 knots late. Seas 16 to 21 feet, dominant period 11 seconds. Subsiding to 10 to 14 feet. Rain in the evening. Snow in the chance of snow late. Visibility 1 to 3 nm, diminishing to 1 nm or less after midnight. Sunday, northwest winds 20 to 25 knots with gusts up to 35 knots, diminishing to 15 to 20 knots with gusts up to 25 knots late. Seas 8 to 13 feet, subsiding to 8 to 11 feet in the afternoon. Mainly in east low with a dominant period of 12 seconds. Sunday night, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 20 knots. Seas 6 to 9 feet, subsiding to 4 to 7 feet after midnight. Mainly in east low with a dominant period of 12 seconds. Monday, west winds 10 to 15 knots, becoming southwest 5 to 10 knots in the afternoon. Seas 4 to 6 feet. Monday night, southwest winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 25 knots. Seas 3 to 5 feet. Tuesday, southwest winds 15 to 20 knots. Seas 4 to 5 feet. Chance of showers in the afternoon. Tuesday night, west winds 15 to 20 knots. Seas 3 to 5 feet. Chance of showers in the evening. Wednesday, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Wednesday night, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Winds and seas higher in and near TSTMS. The marine forecast for lower Delaware Bay as of East Point MJ to Slaughter Beach, Delaware. Storm warning in effect through late tonight. This afternoon.